Alrighty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. Hope everybody's having a great day. And what a cool interview with Steve's friend Dimitri. And as Steve and I were talking about it, Dimitri, I'd met Dimitri for dinner. He was such a pleasant person to meet in person at the time. Um, and it's nice, so many years later to hear his voice and hear about his successes in the markets. It's really cool. So kudos for Steve bringing him on. I thought it was a really nice way to end the week. Now, another nice way to end the week would be if the dollar just ripped some balls off here and took off like a bat out of hell. I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not, but actually what I would love to see more than anything right now is I would actually love to see crude oil roll over. But it's not. Actually, crude's sitting at its highs of the session. And the question that we have currently is, are they going to be able to dislodge this damn ship by the end of the weekend? Nidish pulled up on our in our chat room. For those of you guys that are not in the chat room, I'll show you. This is a really interesting picture here of the canal, and you can see the ship right here, and look at all the ships that are sitting there. This is I'm assuming this is the ship, one of these two. I'm assuming right here, if I'm not mistaken. I guess that's it. And you can see how everything's just kind of bottlenecked, and he threw out some stats, on how much worth of shipments go through there every day, and it's a astonishing amount. But the fact of the matter is that's one of the things that's keeping crude elevated, and I do think it's pushing up against this triangle resistance. I mean, my assumption is crude's going to roll over, and then the repercussions of that in currencies will be the dollar Canadian higher and the US dollar Norwegian krona higher. Now, if you look at both of those currencies today, you can see that the dollar Canadian's trying to push above 126, and the reason why, in my opinion, why we can't mount a rally above 126 right now is because crude's at highs. And then you can take the US dollar Norwegian krona as well. I mean, we're pushed right. Whoops, that's a Swedish krona. Sorry. The US dollar Norwegian krona is like perched right up against this 870 level, and the only reason why I can't break out either is because of crude. So that means that while we're on this chart, we probably need to look at some specific levels that are breakout points, for example. And this one, damn it, I grabbed the wrong thing again. All right, would be right here, which let's put an alert here, which is going to be basically 867. So if the US dollar Norwegian krona breaks 867, it would flip the dang thing to bullish immediately. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to today, because crude's higher. It's keeping the US dollar Norwegian krona capped for now. And matter of fact, since we're on this chart, 38% retracement, spike low right there, that comes in around 855. So that's going to be support once again. Okay, let's go back to the Canadian, since we were just talking about that. So the dollar Canadian was trying to break out yesterday above this 126 level. That means this 126.30 is now really key. Support, once again, will be right here at 125. Well, it's 125.40, right? That's what we've been writing down. So 125.40. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to keep us back in range, which sucks. But it really, the fact of the matter is we couldn't sustain the breakout above 126. Again, I have to reiterate, I think it has more to do with crude oil right now, and stocks being, well bid for now. Okay. Now, speaking of stocks, let's take a look at the S&P. And by the way, the S&P has had a great bounce. You remember yesterday's support? $38.55. We literally dipped, after the market opened. We went to 38.56 and bounced aggressively. It just shows you how important that support is. Okay. That was a 50% retracement. But I think what's more important about that actually is this trend line. I don't think it's so much the fib retracement. Well, I mean, you could say it's a combination of the fib and, the fib and the trend line itself. But that just shows you how important that confluence was, right? Yesterday. So what does that mean for us today? Well, that's obviously support, but where's resistance? So, I'm so irritated about this because I actually feel that, I might actually end up getting stopped out here of my my pattern in play. I'm going to keep it short. I'm keeping the S&P short personally, just because I don't mind taking on a little bit of extra risk, meaning that I can allow us to. I didn't move my stops. My stops are over 4,000. I actually moved them for ForexAnalytix, just from a just a risk management standpoint for people that aren't following as closely as we are. But I mean, I think 39.40 is a 618, so that should offer resistance, right? And 38.55 is support. 38.55, 39.40. Gonna stay in range. US dollar, Norwegian krone, dollar Canadian. We had to flip back to range. Let's go to the euro. So the euro, man, this is heavy. And I know everybody's probably looking at the euro going, oh man, it's oversold. It's got to bounce. It could. I think it's going to have a really tough time, should we get back to here. So 118.30, that's resistance. Oops. It is in a bearish trend. And the 161, if I wanted to play counter trend, the euro, how I would do it? I'd wait for the dip to the 161% extension. If we got it, I would say, all right, long there. You know what I mean? Because then your relative strength is probably going to be divergent on another move lower. Hold on really quick. Hey, Steve, is Steve here?
I am here, mate. Yes,
hey,
I am.
Look at Simon in the chat room. He said, you see what did he click on? He said another link is in progress. Maybe he clicked on the link for the, he probably clicked on the link for the, the original FA.C.E webinar.
Yes, that's my assumption as well. I just saw it.
Okay.
That is my assumption as well.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm sure because I'm like, I didn't log into the wrong one.
No. First of all, I logged in first.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if anybody made that mistake, that would be me in this case. But
Steve did it. Steve did it.
But I'm pretty positive since everybody else came to the same place that I didn't click on the wrong one.
Deflect. Yep. Not my fault. Somebody else's fault. I don't take any claim. Nope. Steve did it, not me. Just kidding.
I'm sorry.
I was thinking,
I apologize.
I was like, man, did I click on the wrong link? And that's not on a Friday. It's not beyond me to do something like that.
I'm afraid that I can't blame you for that. No.
Yeah. It gets a little confusing for us, and just so you guys know, logistically, it's like, it's we do this specifically for you guys that are subscribers. We want you to have something special, not something that everybody else can listen to. But by doing that, logistically for us, it could be confusing sometimes. So, we I wouldn't be surprised if we make a mistake from time to time. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's continue on. So with the euro, what if I wanted to trade counter trend on the euro, I would actually look to buy it on the 161% extension if we make another stab to lows, which based on the trend that we've been seeing this week, you can't rule that out. And I think it's, I think there's a good chance we hit 117.40 first before going to 118.30. So if you get a dip and you can get long on a fresh low, the relative strength is going to be divergent. Then you can play it back to the upside for early next week. That's how I would play it if I was going to play it. Or if you want to just play in the direction of the trend, you wait for a move back to 118.30 to 50 and then look to short it, right? So I think you got one of two options you can play here, depending if you want to go with the trend or against the trend, or, everybody has their opinion on where they think the euro is going to go. You might be in the camp like Benedict in our chat room yesterday said, I think the euro is going to go down to 117 and then it's going to bounce there. It's going to be a Gartley pattern. I think if you remember what was I think we talked about it during the daily roundup. I can't remember this chart, but I think it was something like this. I have to think. Oh yeah. It was like this. He's like, I think we're going here. And then, you play it on the long side, something like this. Right. And if that's your opinion, you want to play it on the long side, then why don't you, instead of, being right where we're at, wait for that last dip to a fib level and then play it on the long side. And if you're if you're in like my camp and you think it's going to 116, then wait for a bounce back to 118.30 to 50 and then short it there, for a resumption of a trend. But again, it doesn't make me right or the other person who's thinking that the euro is going to bounce, back to 120 from here. It doesn't matter. It's putting yourself positioning yourself appropriately for the trade that you think is, the better trade. Whatever happens is going to happen, and you or I don't have control over that. So hope that made sense. Sorry, I'm on a tangent here and market's opening. So let's, the cables bounce back a lot more aggressive than I thought it was going to. Amanda thinks it was because of the, prime minister got authority or the go ahead to, ease the lockdowns, probably because of all the protesting that's been going on in the UK. I personally, I think that the sterling's going to come into some resistance right here. 138 is the 38% retracement. You can see that spike low right here is 138.15. So I'm going to say 138.15 is resistance. I'm going to put it back in a range since we might have had a false breakdown below this trend line. As you guys know, I'm more of a long-term sterling bull. It's a bummer because I really want it to go down further before I start buying it here. So I didn't catch these lows down here. I do think if we drop today,
it might. You never know.
I still think I still think there's a good chance, especially with the euro as weak as it is. I still think it can go down there. I'm just saying that I missed being able to buy it here because I didn't, I thought it would go lower than where it went. Like this is surprising that we turned here to me.
To me as well, Blake, because I was monitoring an ascending channel, which we broke down Yeah, I see you have the same trend line. Yeah, so to be honest, I didn't believe it's going to stop there. I also believed it's going to go lower, and it might still.
No, yeah, and you're right, and it still could. I mean, one of the reasons why actually the dollar isn't stronger currently is because stocks are still strong. S&P loses 3 or 4 percentage points, and the dollar's probably,
Oh yeah,
the cable's going to be down at 136. I mean,
for sure.
it's that simple,
But
but now,
it's really baffling me. No, to be honest, nothing is baffling me anymore with the stock markets. But I mean, just look at the stock market correlation with the dollar. Just switch to anything that's needed to keep the market going, right? It's unbelievable.
yeah, it is. Here, I'm going to wrap this up. And then we can chit chat a little bit, but 75, I'm just got to write this down. 75.60. This is key. That's our neckline, and we'll flip to bearish once we break that neckline, because it held yesterday. You can see how it held, and if we're going to build out this head and shoulder pattern, maybe we will need to build out more of a, crude, by the way, is at its highs. Damn it. Maybe we'll have a little bit more time to build out this head and shoulder pattern before it breaks, which means, and this is why I put 77 cents as resistance, because maybe we make our way back up here today. So Kiwi's getting a little bit of a bounce. Resistance is going to be, well, let's first of all, see right through here. Let me remove that. All these spike lows. We got this spike high up here, or spike lows here. I'm gonna say that this is gonna be probably pretty good resistance. I think we have it. I'll put it at 70.30, just in case we make it above there. I do think it's bearish. Support intraday will be 69.40. 69, then 69.40. Okay. Swissy is breaking out. Dips back to 30 or 90, 93.75 should be supported. I'm just going to burn through these for you guys. This is bullish. 127% extension. If you guys probably got that analysis this morning on ForexAnalytix, it was that's resistance today. 94.20 and then 94.70. I'm gonna mark them both up. Okay, dollar yen's breaking out. We are almost at 110. So any dip down to 109.30 should be supported. 109.30. 110. It's bullish. Dollar index. Now we're above the 200-day moving average, so you can see it coming through here. That a dip back down towards the 200-day moving average would be actually a dip down towards the breakout point, which comes in at 92.50. And I think it's possible we make it down there. And Steve, going back to your comments about the cable could go down, could continue to drop. I believe that because look at the dollar index. I mean, the dollar index has a lot of work to do. It's bullish. It's catching traders off guard. And if the dollar continues to go higher, which I think it will, it probably will drag the sterling down with it by its pigtails. You know what I mean?
Inevitably, yeah.
Yeah, whether the pound drops in tandem with the rest of the dollar pairs, it may not, but what it probably will do is get pulled down with it. So
Yep.
okay, anyway, let's go into the dollar index. So resistance today, I'm going to write down 93 because we've been as high as 92, 93, then 93 and a quarter. So 93, then 93.25. It's bullish. Dollar Mexican peso. It's it's struggling. It's with crude oil, but I think it's building this inverted head and shoulder pattern. We're at the 618, so I think we're going to be supported here. That is 8. Oops, I'm sorry, 8. 2054. Resistance is 2095. Whoops. My microphone's in front of my keyboard, so I have to keep moving my head to see, because I'm not the best typer in the world. It's still range bound, but we had a conversation about this yesterday, and let me stop here and talk a little bit about this particular chart. This is like a inverted head and shoulder pattern, and you guys have heard me say this. I don't look at inverted head and shoulder patterns as continuation patterns, although this, you could argue, well, Blake, this is a continuation pattern. I believe this is, still a reversal pattern after a downtrend. You can see how it's we were severely going down here. This is a very impulsive move. So this is forming an inverted head and shoulder pattern that will only just take us back into the upper end of the range. So typically I'd like them at the very, very bottoms, but this could end up being the very, very bottom of a big move. You know what I mean? So after an elongated, downtrend for the last year. So I can't rule this out. And plus we have this ascending channel. So we know where our risk is. I mean, realistically, the risk is down here at 20, 35-ish. So, but we do know that 2095 would be the neckline, because those are the highs that are holding. So that's why I have written that down. Okay, let's go gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So let's start with Bitcoin, because I did post a chart this morning. We stalled right at the underside of this broken trend line. That broken trend line now really comes in at 54,000. Let's just call it 54,500. So 54,500. While we're below that broken trend line, we're bearish. Okay. Support is obviously 50,000. This is really key now. It's a 618 retracement. You can see that the 618 retracement comes in at 50,088. So we don't have to mince words here. 50,000 is key. A break below 50,000 would be extremely bearish for Bitcoin, in my opinion. Okay, that's it. Gold and silver. So not a whole lot happening, but silver, it dipped below this 2480 that we'd been writing down and got a little false breakdown, but I'm not really convinced that we're going higher either. I'm going to write resistance at being 2680 and support just being the spike low down here, which will be 24. So, and I think we just need to monitor that 24, 2680, right? Yep. Gold, on the other hand, though, gold's not going anywhere. And I know it's 1720, but I'm looking at gold going, man, a little worried here about gold. The fact that it's just not rallying at all, and it's like feels like a train wreck in slow motion is what it feels like.
I'm not worried.
What's
I
that?
mean, I'm not worried. I mean,
Oh, worried about what?
gold.
Okay,
I mean,
that means you're framing it. Your bias positioning right
no,
now.
no, no, no. I mean, it looks heavy, so I do agree that it can move lower in the short term. But I think it's still going to be within the context of a larger corrective move.
Okay, but by saying I'm not worried, that automatically just told me that your bias is bullish. I'm
My
just
long-term
saying,
bias, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that it's trading heavy right now,
It
and it
is.
just looks like it's about ready to slowly roll over, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it
It
might.
looks like it's just slowly just rolling over. It can't, even when the dollar weakens, it can't rally.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you look at the overnight move in like the Aussie going from 75.60 all the way to 76.20. It's a 60 pip rally. Gold, no response. And you know, the euro, yeah, well, I guess you could probably say, well, it's, you know, it's probably holding up better than the euro. But even with the sterling bouncing, it's not doing anything. So and with the breakout in the dollar yen, that should equate to a lower price in gold. So I think I'm going to write down 1720 because, or 1720 because that's our low from today, and that's been what we've been writing. But I actually need to write down, you know, 1700 because I think we can slip below that. So 1700. Okay. So there, the bias chart's done. I'm not sure if Stelios made it back, but I can take a
I'm
peek.
here. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you
There he is.
are.
Yeah.
You may. Are you okay?
Yeah,
You
it's
sound like you're over there.
right. All good in the end.
Yeah,
I have two. I have
you
two
very
two young
rarely hear
kids.
Stelios in a bad mood, but he seems like he's in a bad mood. Wouldn't you agree, Steve?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not in a bad
What's wrong,
mood.
bro?
I have two young girls, and they have issues.
See, don't lie to us. You are in
Nothing
a bad
out
mood.
of the, yeah, out of the normality there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does not Stelios is normal. Hip hip hooray, happy self.
No, I'm
Anyway,
good. I'm good. Don't worry. I got the snapshot. I posted already, so
all
we're
right.
good.
So let's talk a little bit about it's Friday. Let's talk about the canal. So we've got a continued rally in crude, and it's like pushing up against some resistance here. You know, whether I'm drawing it correctly or incorrectly, it's, you know, we're pushing up against some resistance at these levels. How do you feel about this this, you know, canal blockage?
That's a good question. I was running this morning with a couple of friends of mine. One is a ship owner, the other he's a CEO in a shipping company. So I asked them, I said, you know, what's happening with this? And because they have quite a few ships all around the world, and they go, yeah, it's an issue, but it's just delays. It's nothing major.
Exactly.
They just seemed very nonchalant about it. They say, no, no, it's nothing. Next subject. You know, it's absolutely nothing. So, you know, we make a big fuss about it, but it's not, apparently from what they told me, you know, it's not blocked completely. You know, there's just some delays and, you know, in processing and going through and all that. So it's not, they basically said it's not a big deal. So I
Yeah. And if they say it's
tend
not
to
a big
believe
deal,
them.
they know that what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tend to believe them. They have, you know, the one guy owns quite a few ships, and he knows what he's doing. so,
Well,
that's my view on it.
and you saw the picture that Nitish posted in the chat room, right? I thought it was a really cool picture, actually.
Which one? I missed that.
Oh,
Which
you
one
did?
is it?
Here, I'll pull it up for you. It's right here. This is in the chat room, and
Is it a
you can
girl and is
see
it
the ship
naked?
right here. I think that's the ship. I'm pretty sure. And you can see all the ships waiting, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, nice picture.
And then you can see Steve swimming right there.
Yeah, there.
Right
That's
there,
me.
right there, right there. No, but I think that's the ship right here. I think that's creating the blockage, right? So I think they should just blow up the damn thing and then, you know, let people through. That's
It's
what
a
they
good
should do.
opportunity to open it twice the width.
I think they're talking about it taking like a week to be taken out, but still, it's as I said before. My friend said, "Look, it's nothing. There's nothing to worry about," and I think this is probably
Sorry.
a good opportunity to be selling into oil.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I think.
I think it's a great opportunity to sell into the strength. Hey,
Yeah,
just
in all
if
honesty, what are the chances that something that's blocking a canal is not going to be handled ASAP, right?
Yeah.
I
yeah, well,
mean,
this is and matter of fact, Joe Perry sent me this article yesterday. Raj, this is from yesterday as well. And if you guys are in the chat room, it's just us, by the way. So you guys say hello. You guys are all on Jumbotron. You guys, Jumbo. Does anybody know? Do you guys know what Jumbotron is? Am I speaking like Greek when I say
That's
Jumbotron?
the in the sports venues, right? When they put the camera on
Yeah,
you
yes.
and you have to like
yeah,
kiss the other person or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Right. Like, will
That
you
that
marry
that's
me?
how Stelios kissed his first man.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, there's
He was
everybody
there with a
usually in the
friend,
chat room
and he
likes.
felt
Yeah, so
compelled
it's
to.
just us. Say hello. There you go. Hey, Chad. All right. Hold on for dear life. He's I keep talking smack about Bitcoin, and he's getting a little upset there. So about Bitcoin, because
Chad,
that's
are you a hodler, mate?
huh?
Well, if he is, he's made a lot of money.
Good. Yeah.
No, he said recently they started putting a little bit of money into Bitcoin, just like on the side. And you know what? If it's your throwaway money, like, you know,
Couple of million.
yeah, just what I mean, but why not? It's like I don't think this is the right time to do it personally. I think, if we see a what I expect, and I think I made some people upset yesterday when I talked about this, guys. I'll show you.
Blake, you hurt my feelings. I don't know what
I
you're
know,
going to do about
not your
that, but you hurt
feelings,
my feelings, bro.
but I was looking at Bitcoin, and what I was saying here is I think we're going back down to 20,000, and the pattern I pulled up was I believe this is it is a cipher, if I'm not
Bearish
mistaken.
dog, crab, cat
But
type.
but anyway, that's a 127% extension to a reversal after a 50% retracement, 127 extension,
How dare you?
and it takes us right back to 20,000, and it just takes us back to basically the breakout point.
Yep, it
And
was a big level, 20,000. Yes.
well, yeah, because that was the highs
Yep.
from 3 years ago, right? So if you go to 3 years ago, the highs were at 20,000. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go back there and I was talking about crushing all the
Oh,
TikTokers.
your dog has an opinion about that as well, as it seems.
That's Stelios's
That's
dog.
mine.
Mike has an
Stelio,
opinion about it.
Millie,
Mike
yeah.
is angry about that as well, right?
It's Millie, yeah.
But
Was it Millie? Okay.
oh, okay. But I was thinking, this, if Bitcoin did get in this vicinity, let's just call it 25,000 to 20,000, I'm gonna just take some money that I just, like not thinking about, and just put it away. And, maybe it'll be worth something to the kids, 10 years from now. I don't know, but that's the attitude I'll take. I just don't know if I want to be buying it here at current prices. And that's the difference is, it's a big difference too. I mean, if you take, 10 grand and put it away when it's at 20,000, and then it moves back, let's say it, goes to 40,000, then, your 10,000 is worth, 20,000. But if you buy $10,000 worth at 50,000, and it drops down to 20,000 and then back up to 40,000, you've lost 6 grand, right? Or lost like 3,000, of your 10,000, so it's a big difference doing something like that, right? So that's why I think there's going to be better prices. I'm hoping there's going to be better prices, but may or may not be. We'll see. Only time will tell.
Yep, we'll find out.
Yep. And anyway, Irina says, Blake, you scared me. Yes. And I scared Irina yesterday, but we were talking a little bit about that today, right? Like, what governments are going to step in and tax the crap out of crypto and, to get their piece? They're going to. It's just a matter of time. It's just
that was the first interview today of Dimitris. So he was like, a little bit tracked, etc. Dimitris does own Bitcoin, right?
What?
We had discussed it some time ago. He asked my opinion. I brought him in contact with a friend of mine that's very into it, and he decided to buy some Bitcoin at, what was it, 20,000 or so. But keep in mind that, first of all, he did it with money that he was totally willing to lose.
Yeah.
Second of all, despite owning some, he knows that currently it's in Bablicious territory, right? So he's just like, if the bubble blows up even bigger, good for me. If not, fine, whatever. Owning Bitcoin, even if you don't believe in the long-term prospects, isn't a bad thing. But we were having this conversation when I was walking yesterday with him. He was telling me what I've been saying here on the webinar, that listen, all these believers that they think that Bitcoin is going to take over, the global financial system. I mean, they're out of their mind completely. There is absolutely no way they're going to ever let that happen. And he owns Bitcoin, right? So, you can own Bitcoin and still put things in perspective. And, the perspective is Bitcoin might make it for several reasons, mostly psychological, that some people think that it's like digital gold or whatever. But, if your long-term plan about it is that it's going to go to, I don't know, 1 billion because everything is going to be denominated in Bitcoin in the future, just really forget about it. I mean, if that's your thesis that you believe is going to make you rich, you have the wrong thesis there.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. Anyway, yeah. So, and we're at that fever pitch with the public anyway, too. I mean, you and you have such random people talking about how that's
completely random people.
Random.
I told you. I mean,
anyway, hey, I'm gonna let
guy
you guys
that worked in a coffee shop called me to ask me about it, and I hadn't seen him in 5 years. Just imagine that. The guy that currently works in the takeaway coffee shop one of the guys that work in a takeaway coffee shop, he asked me about it, and he bought some Dogecoin because of Musk. And he's a guy that makes 600 euros per month, just to give you an idea.
I have a feeling there's a lot of those people, which is unfortunate. Transfer of wealth. So yeah. I'm going to pass it to you guys. I need to run to the restroom. So I know you guys didn't need all that information, but I got to go. All right.
Bye-bye, man.
Have a great weekend.
Go.
Have a great bathroom.
Yeah.
Still.
Steve.
Too many Greeks in the show today.
Yeah, I actually missed most of the interview, so I'm going to watch it later.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Next time Dimitris visits, we're going to all go out for, hopefully, we'll have somewhere to sit down by then.
2022, maybe.
No, he's gonna visit probably rather soon because he hasn't for some time, and probably within the summertime or whatever. So we'll have a coffee together or some dinner if we're lucky enough to have anything open during summertime. Probably we will. I'm assuming that they're gonna allow outside, sitting in restaurants.
They have to at some point.
Yeah. There's no alternative. Yeah.
Okay, so we have some risk on again today.
Yeah.
The oil is driving quite a bit, and like I said before, I think it's a nice shorting opportunity. Maybe not exactly here, but I think.
And to be honest, since you're talking about risk on in the short term, I mean, let's go to the short-term charts. Look at the DAX. Another clearly corrective move lower, right? Look at the S&P. I mean, initially I was looking at this formation, but a very similar formation. There it is. So, to be honest, no matter how much somebody might want to, here's the Nasdaq. I don't see anything super bearish with the
And
markets.
it's
I mean,
Friday as well. You know, it's
yeah.
usually it's going to be the usual melt up into the weekend, I guess, unless we get
Bro, that's how it looks like.
yeah.
And even this formation now has started looking like, one move higher, consolidation. To be honest, between the rest of the indices, the Nasdaq still looks in the short term, weaker. That and the Russell, mostly the Russell and then the Nasdaq. But for the Russell, it's not unusual. I mean, it had a period that it overperformed, but in general, during the past several years, the Russell was more frequently underperforming than the opposite. But for the Nasdaq to somewhat be underperforming, it's not that usual recently. But if you look at everything, I mean, everything looks like it just wants to, resume higher, right? So
Yeah.
I don't really technically see any thesis for the bearish case as we speak. I mean, the dollar has definitely changed direction in the short term, but risk assets don't seem to care about it at all. Not for the time being, at least.
Yeah, I agree. So what do we do going into the weekend?
I think more or less nothing at the moment. I mean, not today, at least, in my opinion. And today things have already run quite a lot. I mean, if I was just an American trader that just stepped into the market, I'm not sure I would find something, really appealing to trade here. The USD yen has already broken out and had quite a big day. The cable had quite a big day so far already. Of course, somebody might want to intraday fade them, I assume, but yeah, I don't know. As I said, what looks more clear to me is that indices are about to produce another leg to the upside. That's what seems to me like to be the case here. Now, having to do with crude oil, it's today is the third actually consecutive day that we seem to be trading within the range of the previous day. So we had that big down day on Tuesday. What was it? Then Wednesday we retraced almost all of it, but not quite all of it. We had like an inside white candle. Then yesterday we had an inside black candle. So far today we have an inside white candle. So far today is an inside day of an inside day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. In the short term, I think that as long as we trade below this channel, there is a good chance that we're going to see more downside in crude. Um, uh, I don't think we've seen enough of a correction to in essence um, for the market to rebalance after the move from 11 to 68. But you can never be 100% sure, right?
Yeah, that's
Natural
true.
gas is also breaking out today, so it seems to be following today what uh, crude is doing. Copper is still consolidating its recent gains. Nickel has somewhat of a positive day, although it still looks extremely heavy to me, so I wouldn't touch it to the long side yet. Platinum still in a consolidation. Gold and silver, yeah, they do look heavy still. Um, but uh, until proven otherwise, the path of least resistance might be lower in the short term, but I don't think the long-term thesis has changed here. I think within the next few months, we're going to see much higher prices in gold and silver.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
My two friends that I was talking to this morning, they asked me, what do you think is a good trade? I said, look, just if you're looking at the 3 to 5 year horizon, just start buying gold and silver.
yeah, absolutely.
And they actually agreed. They're a bit skeptical of cryptos because they're my age. They both collect cars. I mean, one of them has like 40.
University of Michigan sentiment, by the way, just came out at 84.9 versus 83.6 expected, so somewhat better.
Yeah,
Previous was
yeah,
83. Obviously, that's not going to move anything, but just saying.
yeah. All right. What else can we have a look at? What
Let's
else is
see what
moving?
people want to look at, and where do you think? Where do you guys think euro yen can find resistance? Is one question. So let's Let's pull up the Euro Yen chart.
130.20 or whatever that point is. 130.20.
Listen, there are two formations I'm looking here in the Euro Yen. One of them is a little bit longer term, which is this purple ascending wedge. It's exactly the formation that stopped it from appreciating. I mean, we literally were testing this trend line resistance 5 days in a row before Euro Yen failed lower. But there is a shorter term formation I'm also looking at, which is this. Actually, let me turn it to another color. Let me turn it to blue. This blue channel. So we did find support in the blue channel, right? And we seem to be having a nice rebound today. So quite a nice reaction from there. On the other hand, the resistance remains roughly there at 130.70. I think within these two trend lines, one a trend line from a different formation and the other one a trend line support from another formation, I think it's more or less a very tough choice to make. You can definitely be short against the highs, looking for a larger move lower, which can easily prove to be the case if this ascending wedge is actually the formation the market is crafting in the longer term. Otherwise, if we break above that, then I would be looking for the channel as resistance, which of course keeps moving higher every single day. So currently it's not an easy call to make, because listen, USD yen has been breaking higher. There is no question about it. Although, as I said in FA.C.E, be very careful whenever you see breakouts from triangles, because usually they're like final thrust. So I wouldn't be surprised if this move produces sooner rather than later, like a deeper move lower like that, right? So it might not extend much further from here, but I do think that it has some room towards. I think the next area of resistance is 111. Now, having to do with the Euro USD, since it's the other component, so far it has broken down from the 200 daily moving average, this horizontal support area, and for the time being, it seems to be breaking down from the channel as well, which, if confirmed by the end of the day and week, it opens up the next downside area of support, which is at 116, right? So for the time being, the two seem to be moving in the different direction. I mean, USD yen and Euro USD. But given that the component of the USD is in one in the numerator and the other in the denominator, it means that if the euro yen if the euro keeps being under pressure, right, in general, and the yen keeps being sold, it means that euro yen is going to be fighting for direction, right? Because if both the yen and the euro are moving lower, it's just then about which of the two is moving faster to the downside. And I think this also is depicted in the chart we saw before, because in essence we're seeing that we're coiling one way or the other. So I would be waiting for a breakout in either of these directions to from either of these trend lines to determine the direction. Apple, yeah, actually, something we haven't had a look at Apple for quite some time. I think lower. Now, why do I think lower? I'll tell you why. The last time we had seen Apple, we drew that because this looks to me like a triangle. You see? So I think lower for now. I think the path of least resistance is in the short term lower towards, I would say the next downside objective is at 103, 102, 103. The DAX, I showed that in the 4-hour chart, Jane. I think if you look at the short-term chart, the DAX is breaking out again. You can see it here on the daily as well. Broke out of this triangle. Yesterday had, by the way, an outside white candle, so quite a bullish reversal. Breaking out of this triangle, and it seems to be also breaking out from the previous high, so invalidating that reversal we had over there, which was good enough for just a few days. I think that opens up the door for the next upside objective, which is the 127% extension of the COVID sell-off, which comes at 15,345, with an obvious support in case we fail being this area of resistance that held for quite some time at 14,150 roughly. So as long as we trade above 14,150, it's a clear bullish trend, and the next upside objective is at, as I said, 15,345. Natural gas, we did cover that. Palladium, we didn't cover that today. IWM, we briefly had a look at it. So here's IWM. Found support again at this previous low. Perhaps this is some type of a corrective move. Might be an expanding triangle. Might be. As I've said many times, corrective patterns are very, very hard to predict in advance how they're going to unfold. So let's pay attention to this, or we might have a deeper corrective move towards that area, 192, before we move higher. Definitely seems to be weak in the short term, other than yesterday's reversal. I would be a little bit careful here, because we might have more downside in the short term, although longer term it doesn't look bad. Look at the VIX, also testing the previous lows as we speak here, below 20. Now we're actually below 19. So VIX might want to break down as well. In general, risk assets, don't look bad. Don't look bad at all. There's a delay when you talk to the picture. Is there? I'm not now uploading something. I've uploaded the webinar, so I don't know.
There is no delay.
Okay,
To the
so
mic,
perhaps
when you talk to the
it's your
mic, no.
connection. Yeah. Ingmar, you want to come to Greece? You're more than welcome, mate. Let us know if, when you want to, and we'll be more than happy to. Palladium, yeah. Here it is. Guess what? I told you that this was a consolidation. I think we're breaking out once again. So I think Palladium wants to run for the next upside objective, which is at 28.79. The all-time high, actually, that is. So, I think it probably wants to run there. If I can look at 1297 Sinosoft, a software company. Wait, the ticker is 1297. Is the ticker one? Really? That's very interesting. Okay. Huh. That's a very interesting ticker name. Yeah. 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 Okay, first of all, do I need to say anything more? That means that medium term, there is no trend to begin with, right? Now, there is a big danger that the next move can be to the downside. Why? Because we went into this triangle coming from a big bearish trend that started in 2015, right? Since 2015, we've had moves lower in an impulsive way and corrective moves and the same. But, the closer we get to this triangle support, the better the risk reward if you really want to belong within the context of this triangle, right? So yeah, that's what I think about it. But be careful, we break through this triangle, I think we're headed to new lows. We break through this triangle and we're probably going to see price below 0.87. FVTR, could you have a look at CGC? Yeah, sure. Wait, let me take them in order. FVRR, let's see, FVRR. Ooh. Parabolic trend that has broken down. Now, the bullish case scenario is this one. That's the bullish case scenario you're looking at here, right? So the bullish case scenario is that we hold that low there, and this is a larger pennant, and we break out of this, and then we're headed to new highs. That's a bullish case scenario. Now, the bearish case scenario, look at this, why this trend line is super important. The bearish case scenario is that this exact same trend line that you see, let me show you, is the neckline to head and shoulders formation, right? And that would project a move towards 50. So there you go. We're coiling, and the two pivot trend lines are now very close to each other. VIX with a W, WIX. Not looking good at all. I can tell you that much. Bearish, for sure. Why? Because we had one final thrust out of a triangle, right? New high after a triangle. And I think we just broke 2 days ago this consolidation. So within the context of that, I would expect at least one more leg lower. CGC. Phew. That was not an easy bottom to call in any kind of way. Yeah. Very hard chart to read. Very hard. Extremely strong move lower, but very impulsive move higher. But the retracement lower is also somewhat impulsive, and shorter term, this looks bearish. More likely than not. But in general, not an easy chart to feel confident about. I would favor the downside if we break through this, though. Not an easy market. I don't know what the hell this canopy growth actually, I don't need to know. I can understand by reading it. Extremely volatile, and yeah, I mean, I see all the signs of a market that trades mostly on sentiment here in the price action. So yeah, and not an easy market to trade. As I said, I would favor, if we break through this triangle, I would favor the downside. I think we could extend easily. APPH, let's see. Yeah, same deal here. A lot worse looking than the previous one, though. A lot worse looking than the previous one. I think it is a very tough market to be long here. I think it's very dangerous. Yeah. I mean, we retraced within like a few days, all this move higher. Seems to be a market recently added as well. Summer of 2020. Some RSI divergence. I would stay away from trading this, I can tell you in advance. I would rather trade the previous one you showed than this one. Path of least resistance lower, although I do see some divergences here. Perhaps towards next move towards 14.5. I would assume this move can reach 14.5 and we take it from there. USD Israel shekel, remind me the ticker name. What is it? USD. Okay. What is it? ILS, yeah. Interesting bottom here. Interesting bottom here. I think probably higher. I think probably higher. I think we can even break through this channel and get another impulsive move to the upside. This is a very, very nice bottom that we formed there. Look at the impulsive manner that we traded out of it. Be careful though. I think higher once we break through this resistance area, previous low as well. So we break through like 335, and I think we should see a move towards like 350 easily. You see the 200 daily moving average also there. So 335 is like a key area. We break above it, I think we're headed, decently higher. Okay, guys, I think we covered everything. So have a wonderful weekend and see you on Monday.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everybody. Have a
Thank
good
you,
weekend.
Stel. Bye-bye,
Yes,
everyone. Enjoy the weekend.
Bye-bye.
Charge up the batteries.